Hello everybody, NeroX, the madman from the Midwest, back again to bless your timeline with another review. Now, I've noticed that there's been a lot of nostalgia for the late 1990s in the air lately. It's fair, the 90s did seem a lot simpler when we were much younger, but I'm going to take you back in time to the late 90s. I don't have a time machine, but this intro should take you back. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1. Seems like only yesterday I just got my N64, and this is one of the first games I played on it. Now I know this is footage of the PlayStation 2 version, but yeah, anyway. Or the PlayStation 1 version, I should say. But that footage is of higher quality, and the intro actually shows up. Anyways, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, long before Activision ran the series into the ground, took its legs from it, took its dignity from it, and then finally put it out back with Old Yeller and killed it with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, was a freaking revelation. There had been skateboarding games before it, 720, Skate or Die, and the like, but nothing really caught the eye of not only the gaming community with its arcade-style controls, as well as simple but difficult style of game, but not only, it also bridged the gap between gaming and skateboarding, because skateboarders latched onto the game because it accurately portrayed the skateboarding scene of the late 90s and early 2000s, believe it or not. But I can't just wax nostalgic about it, I also have to point out some of the negatives. So, let's get down to business. This game was developed by Neversoft Studios under the supervision of Activision Games. Activision being the wretched hive of scum and villainy that it is now, which should be surprising that, believe it or not, they were actually halfway decent at publishing and shot themselves in the foot by annualizing the series. This is why you don't do this, people. You get franchise fatigue. But Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 went through quite a few stumbles during its development period, from budget issues to a good chunk of the team leaving, to even acquiring the licensing rights to use Tony Hawk's name and likeness in the game, as well as the other skateboarders. This game had quite a few hurdles, but when it finally did come out, it sold fucking gangbusters. The gaming world had, like I said before, the gaming world had skateboarding games before this, but none quite this, what's the word I'm looking for? Edgy, shall we say. Yeah, edgy. Edgy is the right word. But let's get on to the things that have certainly aged wonderfully with this game. If there is certainly one thing that has aged with this series well, it's the soundtrack. And I'm not talking about just this soundtrack. I mean all of the Tony Hawk soundtracks except 5 were freaking gorgeous. But eclectic and rock, occasionally 70s jazz, hip-hop, metal, punk. I mean, this series, if you can't find something you like on any of these soundtracks, you're not alive. Another thing you did when playing these games was go to the options menu and skip the tracks till you found that one song for that one level. Come on, you know you did it. Everyone has at least one. Another thing that aged about this game very well is its level of approachability. I mean, the main tricks are all mapped to one button. Flip tricks are mapped to the square button, grabs are for circle, grinds are for triangle. It's a really common sense type of approach. As opposed to Skate, which, while it is certainly more authentic in terms of its control feel, it's definitely a bit more complex to get the full grasp on. Whereas this game, it's more common sense type of logic. I say controls, the music, and the level design, believe it or not. Now, some of it is needlessly bullshit, and some of it is needlessly cryptic, but the level design, for the most part, is still very good. The skateboarding obstacles, such as quarter pipes, ramps, half pipes, rails, and other things, are rather creatively worked into the levels, and there's a good amount of joy in seeing just how crazy your combo can get by stringing tricks together, not only using grabs and flip tricks, but grinds, the special tricks, Ooh, man, there's a lot really to learn for such a simple premise and concept. And of course, as with all reviewing my childhood episodes, I have to talk about the negatives of this series. And for this game, really, it's the two things that are the biggest offenders now are the graphics, which, you can't say too much about, because this was the PlayStation 1 and 64 era. But if you want a really good first look at the first Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, play the Dreamcast version of them, or the Xbox remakes of them. But the really big thing about this game that's really aged the worst is the level of repetitiveness. Like, every level in this game is structured essentially the same. So it's basically every level is structured like this: 2 score goals, a high score and a pro score. Find, or hit 5 of this. Find, hit, or grind 5 of this object. Find the hidden tape and spell the word skate out by collecting the letters. I mean, that's it. And don't get me wrong, for the late 90s and the first try at a really true skateboarding game, that's fine. But if you're looking at it from 2018 goggles, it gets really repetitive really fast. I mean, thankfully the levels all are designed and aside from that, there are 3 breakups in the 3 competition levels, which, are pretty self-explanatory. The highest possible score wins. So that's really all the negatives I can talk about. Other than, that's about other than the lack of cheat codes for the first one. They're in the second and third, and they're in the later entries, but there's like next to none for this one. But anyway, I better wrap this shit up. Now to wrap this up, Tony Hawk 1 definitely has aged the most of the series. If you're going to start anywhere with this series, I'd recommend playing the second one to kind of get yourself going. And stop at about, Project 8. Like that I think truly is the last halfway decent Tony Hawk game. And even then, they ripped off Skate because of just how much they clearly took influence from it. But if you want to go back to the late 90s, both in soundtrack and in game design, go right ahead and play this game. It's aged, a lot, especially compared to the other entries in the series that were that much better than this one. But this is, I think, I call it a building block game. It's a game that is fine in its own right, but the sequels are so much better, at least the first 4 sequels, are so much better than this one that you really have no real reason to go back to this one other than curiosity, or if you grew up with this game, nostalgia. But with all of that being said, I am NeroX, the madman from the Midwest. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you want more. Now I must go. My planet does in fact need me. Peace.